Hey, welcome everyone. Glad you stopped by the channel. Do you want your solos to sound more melodic? Today, let me give you 3 tips that will make your solos sound more melodic. So grab your guitar and let's get to it. All right, so let's work through these 3 tips. Tip number 1 is to identify the chords and what key those chords are in. So we're going to use a simple 2-chord vamp today for these examples, C chord to F. And obviously these are all over the neck. And we're looking at it as C major. Both these chords are in the key of C major. I've said this in other videos, but tip number 2 is identifying the notes in those chords. And this is easy for the C chord. We're looking at the C, E, G. Makes up a C chord. That's a C triad there. The notes in the F chord are F, A, C. Again, we know the chords, what key they're in, and the notes in those chords. And it's easy with these 2, but you can do this with any amount of chords in a progression, but you just need to identify those. And tip number 3 ties everything together because we need to know what scales work over those chords. We're going to really look at the C major pentatonic for structure here. A root note here in the 8th fret. Adding this blue note in here, I like to call it blue note no matter if I'm in major or minor because it's just a bluesy note. Just adds a bluesy element to the major pentatonic, and I use it all the time. Also, we will be using the C major scale because both these chords are in the key of C major. Now this is the biggest thing I want to show you today, that these scales will connect your target notes and create movement to those target notes, which really starts to make it sound like music. And another thing I want to point out is both these chords contain the C note. The C obviously, but also the F. The 5th of the F chord is C. So if you land on a C in between your phrases, you cannot go wrong. So that's just a good piece of information going forward here. So just working through a few ideas here, it's so important to land on these target notes of the notes in the chords, but you really need to create movement to those. So even that right there, using the C major scale, I just landed on a G, which is the 5th in the C chord. Right here, the E is the major 3rd of the C chord. So right there, I'm just outlining, hitting the C, the G, and the E, just outlining the chord, but it doesn't really sound like that because I'm creating movement to make that happen. Now we're going to be going to F. Now this is an A note, which is the major 3rd of the F chord, but this is still, I use the structure of the major pentatonic, and also want to point out that the A minor pentatonic is the same notes as the C major pentatonic, but the C major, you're targeting the C note here. So if you know the A minor pentatonic, you can jam over this track and follow right along with these ideas also. So again, with this track going, or this little vamp I got, C and the F, but also the A. Now we're at a G again because we're back to C. Coming up to F, back to C. E note right there. Piece of the C chord. F. C note right there, coming up to the F. A note right there. C note. Just adding these bluesy elements, if you like it. You can keep this simple, but you can really add some dynamics and some bluesy stuff to these simple ideas. Another way to look at this is using the C major pentatonic and just do this little vibe here. C, just really looking at those just little phrases, but connecting them to the chords. You're creating movement to the target notes of those chords. Because these chords are in the key of C major, you can use the C major scale on one string to get around this fretboard. Then using the major pentatonic right down the line there too, walking right up. This is fun stuff, really simple, but you are sounding melodic because you're targeting the notes with movement toward those notes. That to me is melodic soloing. These 3 tips can change the way you look at playing a guitar solo. Yeah, that first tip, identifying the chords and what key those chords are in. Sometimes that might take some work for you guys, but so important. Know the notes in the chords. And the biggest thing is creating movement to those target notes with some simple scales like we did with the major pentatonic and the C major scale today. 2-chord vamp is a great way to do this and practice it. I will leave a link for this backing track in the description. But even 1 or 2 chords, you can really work at these techniques and expand it into where a progression is 3 or 4 chords and do the same concept. I'm going to do a demo solo right now with just using all the elements we just talked about, really adding some bluesy things to these simple concepts.